Part 3, cleaning your carburetor. For this you'll need the following: eye protection, gloves, old toothbrushes, cloth rags, carburetor cleaner spray, carburetor dunk bucket, bladed screwdriver, small piece of wire, and a carburetor rebuild kit. Time to don your eye protection and rubber gloves again. Prepare a metal pan or an old sink, or maybe other old receptacle for holding parts. This keeps the chemicals from ruining everything around them. First, you're going to want to take all your parts and separate them into basically two different types. The first is going to be most of the metal parts. Primarily, you're going to want the carburetor body, all the carburetor parts, as well as the carburetor air filter, as well as the jets, and you're going to want to place these aside in that metal container. Then there's all of the paper gaskets and rubber gaskets. Place those aside as well. Now that you've separated your parts, take all the metal carburetor parts, open up the can of carburetor cleaner, pull the bucket out and place them in the bucket. Now take the basket and place it back in the bucket and close the lid. You're going to want these to sit for a minimum 1 hour, if not overnight. Now that all your parts have soaked a minimum of an hour, if not overnight, open up the bucket, pull out the basket, and pour the parts into some of those rags that you have. Let these ventilate in a well-ventilated area, and help use the rags to help get rid of any excess gunk, etc. that might be on them. Now from all the metal parts, grab your carburetor body. In a well-ventilated space, take your carburetor body and place it in a metal pan or sink. Start by spraying the carburetor cleaner into the 3 holes where the jets go. Spray liberally. At this point, you're mainly trying to clean out all of the main internal areas of the carburetor. Don't worry about the rest of the carburetor body at this point. Next step, grab your air filter and liberally spray the shit out of it with the carburetor cleaner. Once done, let these parts dry in a well-ventilated space. Now that your parts have dried, take all of the brass jets, and you're going to want to do further cleaning on these pieces. Taking the small bit of wire, clean out each of the small holes that you find in each of the jets. Be careful not to enlarge any of these jet holes. Afterwards, you're going to want to reassemble the main jet in this order: main jet bottom, atomizer middle, air corrector on top. Going back to your metal parts, take a look at your carburetor body at this point. Place it on a flat surface and check to see if it rocks at all. If the car body rocks back and forth and doesn't lay flat on the glass, then you probably have a warped carburetor. In this case, you're better off replacing the carburetor. In some cases though, you can wet sand this to a flattened surface again. That having been said, new carburetors are not that expensive, and an air leak can lead to far more expensive damage down the line in your engine. Next up, we're going to check your slide for any odd wear damage. Take the slide only and gently reinsert it back into the carburetor. Make sure it slides in and out of your carburetor easily. If it gets caught or doesn't slide evenly, this can be another sign of a warped carburetor. Again, replace the carburetor if needed. Lastly, look through all of the paper gaskets and rubber gaskets that you've placed aside. Any type of wear, etc., you're going to want to replace these. As a matter of fact, it's probably a good idea to replace everything as often as you can. After all, if one of these fails, it can lead to much more serious damage in your engine.